The basis of Mott The Hoople was formed in the band we had in Hereford. Pete Watts, myself, Verdon Allen, Dale Griffin the drummer, and a singer called Stan Tippins. He was the original singer, and we went to London to try and get a foot in the door with Island Records, and in the days when they were in Oxford Street. You know, it is getting frustrating because you'd sit around all day and wait, and then suddenly say, oh, he's gone home for the day. I was trying to see Guy Stevens. So in the end, I just burst into his office one day. I said, I'm fed up with doing, you know, I'm not going to come all the way down from Hereford and waste my time, blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, come in, I like your attitude. And that sort of sparked it off with Guy. Because Guy Stevens was then, in the early days of Ireland, he was the A&R man, if you will, looking for talent. And he liked the band. He wanted to replace the singer, you know, for the look and the image and all the rest of it. So that's how we came across Ian. And Guy Stevens liked the look of him with the shades and the curly hair. And that was the basis of the start of Mott, really, yeah.
So the first night I met Mick was sometime in '69, I would imagine, walking in for the audition in Regent Sound.
We had a good live following, but we couldn't really sell records. We weren't that commercially successful. We tried different styles, different albums, different singles, to the point that we were getting very frustrated and losing money, decided to knock it on the head. And unbeknownst to us, David Bowie had heard about this, suggested we do one of his songs that he was willing to offer to us to do.
We were already dead to radio. We'd had a couple of singles out already, and radio just didn't want to know. But we also know we had to keep, you know, we were filling everywhere, and you don't fill everywhere over a long period of time if you don't have a hit. So it was getting to the point where something had to happen. And he came back with dudes.
So he sent us the tape, a reel-to-reel tape with all the young dudes on one track, and the Suffragette City was the other one, and a nice handwritten letter. And we loved the song, of course, and then he said, well, why don't you come record it and I'll produce it for you. But that really turned our fortunes round. Suddenly you get a break, and then the band changes into a different... So it wasn't the same band for me. It had lost its underground sort of subversive feel and had become more of a sort of a pop band, you know, and the top of the pops. And Ian got into writing songs in a certain vein that were kind of based on all the young dudes, which is great, you know.
Pete Watts, the bass player, and Mick, they were the two writers. They didn't really want a writer. And then after a while, Pete Watts couldn't be bothered, so I just started doing it, you know, with Mick.
It went away from the original concept of Mott, and I wanted to play something a bit more earthy, a bit more rough, if you like, and that's when I hooked up with Paul. He was out supporting us on Mott The Hoople tour with a band he had then called Peace. And of course we'd all, I'd always liked his singing anyway from the Free days. And we got on really well. And I had a load of songs that we weren't doing with Mott that I'd written.
Mick was coming in with like Ready for Love. He came in with Can't Get Enough, and I couldn't sing them.
Paul was the sort of guy that could sing the sort of songs I was writing.
And it was really sad because we had a very powerful band that was selling out everywhere, but it was just pissing him off. And I knew exactly how he felt, because if it had been him that had a couple of hits on that particular record, then I would have probably left. So it was an unfortunate kind of situation.